and the days that I keep my gratitude higher than my expectations. Well, I have really good days.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Wonderful, I hope. Everything's going good here, except my allergies are killing me and I cannot breathe at all. But other than that, everything is going absolutely wonderful. And I hope it is with you as well. Now, the whole honey swap and XDye chain information that Tyler put out happened while I was out on the road. So a lot of you guys are miles ahead of me in this regard, and that's okay. However, I knew I was getting ready to put some more in this morning, and I asked in the chat room last night if you guys wanted a tutorial on how to set up honey farming, and I got some yeses. So I'm going to be doing that here in a second, but if I can't figure out how to blur out the screen in some places, I'll just have to put that part out later. All right, good enough. So, real quick, got 4 real quick news stories for you. Robinhood hackers. Well, the Robinhood hackers didn't really even get that much. However, interesting what they were doing was that they were donating the hacked funds to charitable causes. The Robinhood effect, if you will. Interesting here, I didn't realize this. Ransomware attacks cost businesses up to $170 billion in 2019. That is crazy. That's crazy. But as far as donating it to charitable groups, it kind of reminded me of this movie Sneakers. If you've never seen it before, it's really good. You should try to catch it on Netflix or something. But it's got Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Sidney Poitier, River Phoenix, James Earl Jones, Ben Kingsley. It's a great cast. It's a great movie. But their cause, or their stated cause, reminded me a lot of that movie. However, as you read further down into the article, it seems that most of these charitable cases are giving the money back because they don't want to be paid in stolen money. Interesting story. I stated in a previous video how it seems that the real world news is spilling over more into the crypto news. And you see here that FINCEN fines Bitcoin mixer operator $60 million. This creator and operator is already facing criminal money laundering charges, evidently not asking for KYC or anything like that. However, this included a failure to collect and verify customer names, addresses on over 1.2 million transactions. Wow. Unbelievable. It says, moreover, FinCEN alleges that he actively deleted even the minimal customer information that he did collect, even when engaging with narcotics traffickers, counterfeiters, and fraudsters. Wow. And I saw this right here, where I was pointing out a while ago that he was already facing money laundering charges to helping to obscure the source of over $300 million in Bitcoin for Alpha Bay darknet patrons from 2014 to 2017. Now, I was not familiar with Alpha Bay darknet, so I Googled it. Busted in July of 2017. Basically, it's Silk Road on steroids. Alpha Bay reported that it serviced over 200,000 users and 40,000 vendors. 250,000 listings for illegal drugs and toxic chemicals. More than 100,000 listings for stolen or fraudulent identification documents, counterfeit goods, malware, and other computer hacking tools. 100,000 listings. And it says here, by comparison, the Silk Road dark market, the largest such enterprise of its kind, before it was shut down in 2013, had approximately 14,000 listings versus 100,000. This dude got life imprisonment. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I've said a couple of times, and I keep wondering, why on earth do these cyber criminals who are so smart and can write codes to do this and do all these nefarious things, why do they end up using Bitcoin? Because that's just a bad idea if you're a bad guy. It's easy to track you. Basically, this is a pretty interesting story. I'm going to put the links to all these stories down below so you can check it out. And they're really short reads. Mainly, they can steal these other funds, but the only one that's really being used these days that they can go out and use it is Bitcoin. And when they transfer it back into Bitcoin and then try to bring it to the real world, well, then that's when the centralized exchanges have your real information in most cases. Or when you try to bring it to the real world, that's when they bust you. Even this one here, $250 million of cryptocurrency, they were able to keep it hidden until they switched it into Bitcoin to cash it out, and then boom, got them. Now you guys already know about this news that came out yesterday with Bitcoin surging. It's still having a pretty good morning, just went back over 13,000. You already know about that. One thing you may not be familiar with is in the traditional markets where Netflix disappoints Wall Street. So they took a huge hit in the after hours trading market. And the interesting part of this is they're like, oh, we don't understand what happened. It did so well during the quarantine. Well, we know why Google took a hit, because they're being sued by the federal government. Yahoo and Facebook and all those will be soon. But the one thing that cracks me up is that they can't figure out this one. Why Netflix had such bad numbers for the quarter that just ended. And it's really, really simple. Part of it is there are some people in some states that are returning back to work in one degree or another, and without everybody being trapped at home. Now, they are in some states still, but without everybody being trapped at home, obviously traffic is going to be lower. Now, one thing that they are either A, overlooking, or B, just ignoring intentionally, we already knew this was going to happen. The show Cuties, that was a Netflix original, really pissed off a lot of people. And it's not Southern Bible thumpers, and it's not people down in the Bible Belt. I mean, we got people in all different states, all different religious affiliations, all different political parties that are pretty pissed off about this show because they said it made these little 12, 13-year-old girls should not be dressing and acting the way that they were in this show. Now, I will say that I did not watch it, so I can't really comment other than what I've seen. But I mean, when you've got Tulsi Gabbard even coming out against it, both sides of y'all, there was massive subscription cancellation. So how earnings reporting surprised them, I don't understand. Like I said, they're either completely overlooking it and thinking that their shit don't stink, or they're intentionally looking the other way because they don't want that they screwed up there. One of the two. It's one of the two. Now, when we come back to the PayPal story, it's kind of a similar story here as it is on Robinhood. You can buy it, you can't transfer it, not your keys, not your Bitcoin, just like on Robinhood. Now, what I read on the Robinhood situation is that they didn't have the right license to do so. I imagine it's the same thing here. However, what people are saying is this right here. Whoop, don't get too excited. It's only IOUs. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. So if you did the Energy Web token bridge, this is all going to be very familiar to you. You're gonna go into your MetaMask wallet. You're going to do a custom RPC. And when it pops up, you're just going to fill in the blanks with that. And I will put the link to that down below. All right, so to get your funds from the Ethereum chain to the XDAI chain, you're going to use one of two bridges. And I'll see if I can't find the one if you're sending die over that turns into X die. And then there's this one, which is every other token except die. Now, I'll try to find the link for the die one, but I do know this, that if you put die in here and try to transfer it over, it's going to go, hey, use this, and it'll give you a link to the other. So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to move whatever token over to the X die chain via the Omni bridge. Now, if this is your first time to do it, for peace of mind, maybe you just want to do one. Make sure it goes through, everything's fine. And what you will have to do is unlock it first and wait. And then once unlocked, you're just going to transfer it over. All right, and then finally, it goes through. All right, so now HoneySwap is a fork of Uniswap, so it's very, very, very similar in appearance and how it works. Now I'm going to put this link in the description below and also this link in the description below. Now before you start messing around over here on HoneySwap, you got to come switch to the XDAI network that you set up earlier. All right, and instead of using Ethereum for gas over here, you're going to be using XDAI. Now, not the stake XDAI, but the HoneySwap version of DAI that you switched over. Now, it looks like eventually there's going to be other farms set up. Currently, there are 3: Honey and DAI, Honey and Stake, and ETH and Honey. Now, they're called different stuff over here. They got a different prefix because they're on the XDAI chain, but all right. And it'll tell you here what the returns are. So whichever one you're going to target over here is going to depend on the returns. But also, you want to make sure that you're in the pool that's going to be the best for you. Now, the most volume is in the Honey and in the DAI pairing. You can see right here. Not by much over Honey and Stake now, but the volume is a little less than double, even though the liquidity is very similar. And then the ETH and the Honey, you can see that the liquidity is less than half of the liquidity here, but the volume, it's much less than half. So you have to take a look and do the one that's in your best interest. Maybe you're bringing stake over, as I am in this particular situation, and I don't want to go through, oh, let me sell this for this and then pair those up. I want to leave the stake as stake, discounting the impermanent loss, which I think is a concept that I don't care too much about if I'm going to be throwing it into a liquidity pool in the first place. I don't care as much about how the allocation of the tokens lays out, because it's been my observation that not over a period of a day or two, but over a period of weeks or even a month or two, that it generally evens out. So I don't even really pay that much attention to it. So what I'm going to be doing is doing Honey and Stake. Now, I don't have any free honey except what my farm has produced. So let's take a look here. Now I'm going to be adding it to this pair, even though the ETH Honey pair looked a little more profitable, but not by much. However, the main reason that I'm going to be doing it with this, like I was saying, is the stake that I just moved over. I don't want to be turning that into Ethereum or DAI. I want to leave it as stake. So let's take a look. So if I do that, I'm going to need, so if I max out my stake, I'm going to need this much honey. All right, so now I'm going to add liquidity. I'm going to do honey. And I'm going to do stake. Then I chose to go ahead and add the liquidity. You add some honey for collateral and whatever stake. And then you're going to come back over to this page. And after you approve it, then you're going to add those liquidity tokens that you just got paid over there for putting it in to the pool. And there you go. That's all you got to do. Now, from time to time, what you'll do, I mean, there's several things that you can do. You can just let it continue to sit there and farm and kick out honey and hodl honey all you want. What I've been doing is I've been taking whatever balance that I get, splitting it in two, buying Ethereum with half of that, and then adding on to whatever my balance is here, basically compounding the interest. But you can do it however you want. I mean, you may simply hodl honey. You may sell all of it and just stack ETH or Bitcoin, wrapped Bitcoin, or whatever you want to do. Right now, I'm just putting it back to work in the pool from whence it came. So that's how I do it. You do what works best for you. This is not financial advice. Now something just happened. Oh. Looks like XDAI took off, as did honey. Yeah, because something just happened. The screen just blinked and... Oh, holy shit! Ow! Well, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but when I said, hey, something's changed here, the prices were all wonky. And I'll take a look at what I got recorded here in a second and take a look at it. But what happened was the price of honey jumped about $300. The price of Ethereum jumped about $150. And the price of steak jumped about $5. They're back to normal now, but this was like at almost $500 or whatever. So what I did was, after I did that first farming setup, when I saw that happen, I sold the Ethereum here at that price, at the much higher price, shipped it back to the Ethereum chain, back to Uniswap, rebought, got an extra 2 Ethereum out of the deal. Alright, well, that didn't end the way that I thought it was going to. And really happy about that. Got an extra 2 Ethereum out of it. I ended up shipping the other Ethereum back to the XDAI chain, splitting it in half, putting half into honey and half into Ethereum. And then I put those into the liquidity pool, and then I threw those into the farming website. It's pretty much that simple, and that's how I'm doing it every day now. I wake up, I take what honey I earned in the previous 24 hours. I'm buying Ethereum with half of it, and I'm throwing that in the pool. The goal is to let this thing fund itself. Don't just buy your sats. Make your sats. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later. Sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, unicorns, and all that good stuff. Bye con huevos.